So the first step in a vector space model is computing the weight of every terms. Nowadays, term frequency, inverse document frequency is given priority because it tries to see both term frequency and the document frequency. That means the frequency of occurrence of a given term in a given document times the frequency of occurrence of a given term across the document collection. It considers the importance of a given term for a given document and the importance of a given term across the document collection. So when we are calculating term frequency, inverse document frequency, we are multiplying term frequency with inverse document frequency. So given a collection of 10,000 documents and term A appears 20 times in a given document J, the maximum appearance of any term in document J is 50. There is another term which appears frequently in that given document J, 15 times. The term A appears in 2,000 of the documents in our collection. Now you are asked to calculate the TF-IDF of term A. When you are calculating the term frequency of the term frequency times inverse document frequency of term A, we have to multiply TF by inverse document frequency. Towards that, first we have to know term frequency. The term frequency is given. Term A appears 20 times in a particular document J. We want to calculate the term frequency of document J. No, the term A in document J. እዚህ ጋር የቀረች ነገር አለች። Compute term frequency inverse document weight of term A in document J. Because we are calculating the importance of term A for representing document J. So that means we have to know first the term frequency of term A in document J. That means the term A appears 20 times in a particular document J. Then we have to normalize it. For normalization here, what's given is the maximum frequency of another term which occurs in document J, 50. So for term frequency of term A in document J, take its frequency 20 times, then normalize it by 50. The maximum frequency of another term which occurs in document J, which is 50. So that will give us 20 over 50, 0.4. So relative to the whole distribution of terms in that document J, term frequency of A is 0.4. That means the importance of term A in document J is 0.4. Then the inverse document frequency, which is dependent on the inverse of document frequency. The inverse of document frequency is logarithm of the total number of documents over the document frequency of A. That means the total collection over the number of documents containing term A. Take the logarithm of that, log of 10. 10,000 documents are available in our collection as per the given information. And the term A is appearing 2,000 times. That means logarithm of 10,000 over 2,000. That means what? Logarithm of 5. Logarithm of 5 is 2.32 from our logarithm table. Then what about TF5F? Multiply the normalized term frequency of A in document J, multiply with the inverse document frequency of term A. That means 0.4 times 2.32. So in general terms, term A is important for representing document J with 0.928 weight. So that means term A is relevant for representing document J because it is appearing frequently in document J, but appears in some of the documents out of our collection 10,000, 2,000 times. When we come to similarity measurement, we are using the most frequently used one, which is cosine similarity. Cosine similarity is calculating the similarity of the document with the query. So it gives highest similarity score for those documents which are near to the query. So it is like measuring the degree between a given document against the given query. How we calculate cosine similarity? We try to find summation of terms in document multiply with term in the query. I is representing the term. J is representing the document. I is representing the term. Q is representing the query. So take every terms in document J, multiply with every terms in document query. That will give us the dot product. Then we have to normalize it. When we are normalizing, we have to divide by the length of the terms available in document J, multiply with the terms available in the query. So that means a square root of summation of all the terms, summation of the square root of the weight of all the terms in document J, multiply with square root of summation of the weight of squared weight of all the terms in the query. Again, we are getting similarity score between 0 up to 1. If you get similarity score of 0, that means the document is irrelevant for the query. Otherwise, if greater than 0 similarity score is obtained, the document in one way or another, since it contains at least one of the query term, that document is relevant. So if you apply cosine similarity, you have to also apply what? Best matching for ranking. Because cosine similarity takes into account the appearance of a given query term in a given document 1 times, 2 times, 3 times, all the query terms in a given document. Since it considers a given document is relevant if that document is containing at least one query term, we have to apply best matching for ranking, because we have to give more relevance for those documents containing all the query terms or most of the query terms as compared to a document containing only one of the query terms. How we calculate the similarity score using cosine similarity matching? Like given a given document, And if we know the terms in that document, and also given query, and if you know the terms in that query, then we are waiting the terms in a given document, then the terms in a given query. Finally, we will have term weight assigned for the query, for the document, based on the terms that we are considering. So unlike the Boolean model, which is trying to evaluate every document based on query terms, here we are evaluating by comparing queries based on the terms it contains and the documents based on the terms they contain. So we are trying to see the similarity between query and the document in the case of vector space using cosine similarity. What is the similarity score of the given query and the document 1? What is the similarity score of the given query against document 2? See the similarity between the given query and document 2. First, we have to find the dot product, summation of the product of the query terms against document terms. In our case, if you compare the query in terms of term 1 and the term 2 against document 2, term 1 and the document 2, since they are already weight, we just multiply 0.4 by 0.2 plus 0.8 by 0.8 times 0.7. So 0.4 times 0.2 plus 0.8 times 0.7 will give us summation of the product of query terms against document terms divided by the length of the query multiplied by the length of the document. The length of the query is square root of 0.4 squared plus 0.8 squared. Multiply that one with square root of 0.2 squared plus 0.7 squared. That will give us a normalized similarity score. So when we are finding the dot product by multiplying 0.4 times 0.2 plus 0.8 times 0.7, we'll get 0.64 divided by the length of query multiplied by the length of the document. Document 2 will get square root of 0.42. Finally, their similarity score is 0.98. When you are dividing 0.64 by square root of 0.42, we'll get 0.98. That means the similarity score between document 2 and the query is near to 1. So they are more similar, that means. When we come to the similarity between query and the document 1, again we are multiplying 0.4 times 0.8 plus 0.8 times 0.3 divided by square root of the length of query. That means 0.4 squared plus 0.8 squared, multiply it with the length of document 1. That means square root of 0.8 squared plus 0.3 squared. That will give us 0.74. So is document 2 or document 1 which are more relevant for the given query? According to cosine similarity measurement, a document which is registering the highest similarity score is more relevant for the query than the one which is registering less similarity score. As a result, document 2 is more similar than document 1 for the query with weight 0.4, 0.8 by considering only two terms. Let's see it with the previous example. Given as a query, gold, silver, truck, and we have three documents with this content. Now just let's consider by constructing term document frequency. When we are constructing term document frequency, we have this much terms, content bearing, which are normalized, which are stemmed, and stop words are removed. We have query, we have document 1, document 2, and document 3. First, we have to calculate their term frequency. So we calculate the term frequency of sheep in document 1, gold in document 1, damage in document 1, the same thing, the liver in document 2, silver in document 2. See silver, for instance. In the case of binary, we are just assigning 1 because binary is looking at only the presence of silver in document 2. But when we are looking strictly to its term frequency, silver is appearing in document 2 times. So when you are using non-binary, you are taking into account the frequency of occurrence of every terms. Now in this case, normalization is not required. You can normalize or else you can ignore because we have only minimal number of documents with minimal number of terms. Almost all the documents are equal. They are containing equal number of terms. As a result, since there is no much difference between document content, there is no document that we can say this is long, this is short. All are almost containing equal number of words. So normalization, we can ignore it for the time being. But if you are designing a system, it is a must to normalize. Then after calculating the term frequency of appearance of every terms in the given query and the document, we have to also calculate document frequency. How many documents are containing arrive? How many documents are containing damage? How many documents are containing arrive? Arrive is available in 2 documents. So document frequency is 2 for arrive. How many documents are containing gold? There are again 2 documents containing gold. How many documents are containing silver? There is only 1 document which contains silver. So as a result, arrive has a document frequency of 2. Damage has a document frequency of 1. Silver, even if it is appearing in document 2 times, the document frequency is only 1. Now we have to calculate inverse document frequency using document frequency. Logarithm of total document collection divided by document frequency of a given term. So what is the inverse document frequency of arrive? Logarithm of the total document collection 3 divided by the document frequency of arrive 2. So logarithm of 3 over 2 to the base 10. In the case of inverse document frequency of damage, since document frequency of 1, logarithm of 3 total document we have divided by 1 document frequency of damage. So as the document frequency decreases, inverse document frequency increase. So that means the inverse document frequency becomes in line with the term frequency. As we said, as the term frequency increases, the importance of the term also increases. As the inverse document frequency increases, the importance of the term also increases. Now we can calculate TF-IDF. TF-IDF, as TF-IDF increases, the importance of the term also increases. But at this point, don't be confused. We are calculating TF-IDF of each terms in each document. Sometimes on the exam, I am observing that TF-IDF is calculated in the form of IDF. But actually, we have to calculate TF-IDF of every term in every document. So we are calculating TF-IDF of arrive in the query, in document 1, in document 2, and the document 3. That means what? In the query, we have TF0, 0 times IDF 0.176 is 0. In document 1, we have 0 TF multiply with IDF, again 0. But in document 2, TF is 1. 1 times IDF 0176 will give you 0176. In document 3, TF is 1, IDF is 0176. TF IDF of term arrive in document 3 is 0.176. So in this way, for all the terms, we have to calculate their TF IDF in each document, including query. Finally, the query is represented by 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 176, 0, 477, 0, 0, 176, based on the terms that are extracted from the document. D1 is represented by 0, 0, 477, 0, 0 0.477, 0 0.176, 0, 0, 176, 0. Then we are calculating the similarity between query using its vector against D1 using its vector D2, D3. Then we are trying to compare Q with D1, Q with D2, Q with D3. Now we are using the cosine similarity. To simplify, you can first calculate the length of document and the length of the query. Or else you can divide using the formula of cosine similarity. Summation of the product of every terms in the document against every terms in the query divided by the normalizer, length of document, length of the query. If you calculate the length of the query, you will get what? Square root of 0, you can ignore 0.176 squared plus 0.477 squared plus 0.176 squared. So for the query, just by taking only terms with the numbers, ignoring zeros, you can get the length 0.538. For the document also the same thing. Then you have to calculate the query multiplied by D1 as a dot product, summation of every terms in query multiplied with every terms in document 1. When we are looking at the intersection point between Q and the D1, there are numbers only when we reach gold. Otherwise, when there is a number in D1, Q is 0. Or whenever silver for Q is 0.477, but D1 is 0. We can ignore all those zeros and concentrate on the value of gold, 0.176 times 0.176, which gives us the dot product of Q against D1, since others are 0. What about Q against D2? We have two terms that are available in the query and in the document, D2. Silver is available in our query and also in D2. Track is also available in query and also in D2. Others are in either of the point, either Q is 0 or D2 is 0. So we can ignore them, just concentrate on the value of 0.477 multiplied by 0.954 plus 0.176 multiplied with 0.176. Or else, not to confuse, 0 times 0.176 plus 0 times 0 plus 0 times 0.477. For all terms, multiply the value at query and document 2. Finally, we'll get the dot product. Then, to measure similarity, divide the dot product of Q D1 over the length of Q multiplied with D1 as a normalizer. It will give you 0.0801. The similarity between Q and the D2 Again, their dot product summation of multiplying terms in query against terms in D2 will give you 0.4862 divided by the length of Q in terms of it is query terms, square root of term 1 in the query squared, weight of term 2 in the query squared, plus all the terms in the query in terms of their weight squared, will give you the normalizer for the query multiply with the normalizer with document 1, document 2, and document 3. Now you will get for similarity Q D2 0.8246, similarity of Q with D3 0.3271. Which documents more relevant? D2, because it's registering the highest similarity, followed by D3, which is registering 0.327. What about D2? D2 is the least relevant out of the three, because every documents are registering some value greater than 0 similarity score. If all of them are registering less than 0 or one of them are registering 0, we ignore. In fact, there is no less than 0. If they are registering a similarity score of 0, we have to ignore it because it's irrelevant. So accordingly, ranked document lists are identified. What's the advantage of vector space? It applies all our criteria. Term weight is non-binary. Partial matching is applied using similarity score, using cosine similarity. Then ranking principle is applied using best matching. But one of the disadvantages observed in vector spaces, it takes every terms as an independent for representing every document. It doesn't see their relationship. Still, that thing is under study. Like Bayesian belief network is nowadays attempted by different scholars.